these two IRS whistleblowers have come out to say the DOJ has been controlling this from the start, notwithstanding its protestations of non-interference, that Merrick Garland's DOJ's intentionally slow-walked the entire thing, that they've been stopping the IRS investigators from doing their jobs, that they've been tipping off the Hunter Biden team time and time again, that investigations were coming, that phone calls were coming, that interviews of witnesses were coming, that the feds were going to show up and do a document review, right? Similar to how they surprised Trump, they wanted to do to Biden. No, interference, heads up. It was like they were working together, according to these whistleblowers, one of whom has come out by name, one of whom has yet to be specifically named. And we'll get to the WhatsApp message involving Joe Biden in a minute. But let's just start with the allegations being made by these two whistleblowers and how you see it.
I think we need to start with the fact that you have to consider the enormous risks that these people are taking and the freight train that they're inviting to come rolling toward them by standing up and denouncing the corrupt politicization of the Hunter Biden investigation by the Biden Justice Department as a means of protecting the president's son. These are not powerful people. You're talking about kind of mid to senior level investigator in the IRS, kind of a career public servant, and the second person seems to be even a little bit more junior. And the more senior one has attached his name to these allegations. You can imagine the kind of scrutiny and attacks and the risk that entails in order to do, that leads me very strongly to just at least assume in the first instance that there must be some kind of good faith behind these claims. And that's exactly what they're claiming, which is that IRS supervisors and IRS investigators who work on these cases all the time said that in ordinary circumstances, if it weren't the president's son, this is the kind of case that would result never in misdemeanor charges, but in multiple felony charges. There were prosecutors in the Justice Department assigned to this case who also concluded that felony charges were the only viable path, that would be true for anybody else. And what happened instead was at every step of the way, the investigation was interfered with and intervened by senior Justice Department officials who answered to the Biden White House in a way that wasn't supposed to happen, since it's a special counsel, constantly blocking avenues of investigation and ultimately demanding that only a misdemeanor charge be offered to him as part of a plea deal. And this is exactly the kind of politicization of the Justice Department that they claimed President Trump was guilty of, that they swore they would never do. And it's not conservative media or Devin Nunes now claiming this. These are career civil servants putting their names on it at great risk to themselves and their career, putting themselves in peril in order to blow the whistle on this kind of a corruption. And to me, that is a very compelling sign that there's a lot here.
I want to get into the specifics, but I mean, to me, the basic juxtaposition is no one is above the law. No one is above the law. No one is above the law unless your last name is Clinton or Biden. I just can't that's what I cannot get past. That is why it is very difficult to shed tears over the horrors that Donald Trump did with those documents. It's like either we're going to have one system of justice or we're not. And these two whistleblowers, their allegations are absolutely shocking about what was done in the Hunter Biden case. Why did it take 5 years? These two are telling us. We now are getting the answers, at least according to them. The top line from each guy is as follows. One named Gary Shapley, 14-year IRS veteran. Wall Street Journal says he was the leader of an elite team of agents specializing in international tax investigations, brought in as supervisor of the Hunter case in January 2020. This wasn't some low, know-nothing minion. This guy was running the Hunter investigation, and he said, quote, this criminal tax investigation of Hunter, quote, has been handled differently than any investigation I've ever been a part of for the past 14 years of my IRS service. The second unnamed whistleblower said in his testimony that the conduct of prosecutors on this case, quote, has honestly been appalling, and I do not think they are considering the human impact of the decisions they're making. Should start up front by saying the DOJ denies that the guy investigating this, the U.S. Attorney David Weiss, had anything less than full control. They say he has full authority over the matter and really would like to distance Merrick Garland or his DOJ from having interfered. But that's not what, in particular, Shapley or the other guy have been saying. There's a very specific list, Glenn, of 14 allegations being made about these guys, including that they were stopped in pursuing search warrants of Joe Biden's guest house where Hunter had one time lived because of the optics, that they wanted to search a storage unit in Virginia where Hunter had moved business documents. I thought they cared about business documents. They had to make sure that they're secure. He had moved business documents and the team wanted to search it. And that their boss, the U.S. Attorney, Ms. Wolf, again objected, tipping off Hunter's defense counsel, ruining their chance to get to the evidence before it was destroyed or manipulated. That the FBI tipped off Hunter's Secret Service team to a proposed day of action in which members of the U.S. Attorney David Weiss's team intended to conduct surprise interviews of witnesses, including Hunter. Instead, the FBI gave Hunter's Secret Service team a heads up that they were going to do it. And of the 12 plus interviews they hoped to conduct, they only got one, said the whistleblower, and that Hunter lawyered up. That they were blocked from pursuing leads about the financial transactions of Hunter's children, saying they'd get into hot water if we interviewed the president's grandchildren. We were told not to look into evidence of campaign violations. That they prepared a document in late 2021 covering the tax years 2014 through 19, in which it recommended charging Hunter with felony tax evasion, felony false tax returns, and failures to pay tax. This is based, said the whistleblower, on his textbook tax evasion of declaring his income from the Ukrainian firm Burisma as a loan. They were also looking at charging him as a foreign agent, an unregistered foreign agent. But according to Mr. Shapley, the Weiss team was prepared to pursue these charges, but was blocked by Biden appointees, despite Attorney General Merrick Garland's public claim that Mr. Weiss was independent. I could go on and will in a minute. But these are, if this is true, Glenn, there's no question that the DOJ interfered, and it's why Kevin McCarthy today is suggesting he may, depending on where this goes, push to impeach Merrick Garland. What do you make of it?
I think this is the key part of this, which is, and you just did a great job elucidating this fact, which is, this is not a case where someone inside the IRS is coming forward with just assertions or unhinged allegations that seem ideological or partisan. Not only are there all kinds of specifics about how the DOJ interfered with the investigation, how the DOJ overrode what ordinarily would be normal investigatory avenues. Do you think in most cases where they're investigating somebody for tax evasion, they're shy about going and investigating and talking to the family members who are part of the finances of the person being investigated? Needless to say, the IRS is not exactly unforthcoming, or nor is the Justice Department when it comes to those kind of investigations the way they were here. But also they have documentary evidence, which they furnished to the committees in the Congress, substantiating all of these allegations. So the credibility of these claims is as high as you can possibly get. Now, they should be investigated fully, but it's a very promising start from the perspective of whether the allegations are credible or not when you have somebody putting their name on it, somebody being this specific, and most important of all, somebody offering documentary substantiation for the claims that they're making. I think it's important as well to take a step back because you mentioned the Donald Trump prosecution, and it is so crucial. There were people, this is very predictable what they were going to do, and there were people predicting it. Ted Cruz, whatever else you think of him, you can go back and find him over the last year saying that exactly this was going to happen, that they were going to indict Donald Trump on serious federal charges, and then shortly after, in order to prove they were being even-handed, they were going to indict Hunter Biden or charge Hunter Biden, but in a way that would ensure that he would be protected, which is exactly what ended up happening. That's how flagrant and transparent it was, that it was so predictable what they're doing. I don't know if you saw, you probably did see this weekend, Megyn, regarding that very short-lived coup in Russia. All weekend long in the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, there are all kinds of reports about what U.S. intelligence agencies knew about what was happening, about what they knew in advance. Every single instance where you see an article like that is an instance of somebody leaking top secret information to newspapers in a way that is unauthorized and therefore illegal under the law. Nobody cares. No one's interested in finding the source of this. These people play with classified information, top secret documents, every single way this day. And now you have Donald Trump, who isn't accused of leaking this information to anybody as part of the indictment, who's just accused of having taken it, even though he could have declassified it had he wanted to. But I guess the allegation is he just failed to do so. And all the same people who every day spill top secret information on the pages of the newspapers, or who inside the government pass it to reporters, are feigning this indignation over how Donald Trump treated our secret classified documents by keeping it recklessly or negligently inside Mar-a-Lago, to the point that he's being indicted, when every day far more serious leaks happen and they don't even charge the person at all. They don't even care to pretend that they're angry about it.
In a startling description, the UN food chief warned the world with the words, "knocking on famine's door." He called what we're facing, quote, "a perfect storm of a perfect storm." And he is not alone. A Barron's report says a food shortage could be coming even in the US. Farmers see it too. John Boyd Jr., a fourth-generation farmer, recently said, "We're going to see empty food shelves in the coming months." That's why getting survival food is more important than ever. Create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4 Patriots survival food kits. It's not ordinary food. We're talking good for 25 years, super survival food. Handpacked in a family-owned facility in the USA and giving jobs to over 200 Americans. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. And you can make these meals in less than 20 minutes. Just add boiling water, simmer, and serve. And right now, for the next few days, viewers are going to get 10% off their first order at 4patriots.com, 4patriots.com, by using the code MK. Go to 4patriots.com, use the code MK to start your stockpile today. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.